that was the trigger. That literally launched took a whole new trajectory in my career. Just being, I swore against being a people manager, and instantly I was put in a manager role after that. Once I figured that out, wasn't even in my life, and I actually was the one that was like made the decision to kind of pull the plug on him. He had a heart attack and was on life support, and I just had this experience with him.
And I invite you all to find someone in your life that you can call when you're having the dark night of the soul. And Randy Gates is the guy I call.
Todd's the guy I call.
Hey guys, welcome to the Two Thumbs Up podcast. Great to have you back with us. 2026, here we are, and we're grateful to be here. I want to introduce you to one of probably I would say my best friend. And I have a lot of great friends, but Randy Gates has been in my life for a long time. And, I'm grateful to call you my best friend. It's, as a matter of fact, we were just talking about all the people I know and who've influenced my life. And you're the bridge that has been a part of that, been an integral part of that. So welcome to the podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We've talked about doing this for a while, and
yes.
There's actually been a number of people on the podcast who I would not know. Actually, probably most of the people on the podcast that I would not have experienced if it wasn't for the relationship I have with you.
Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking about all the guests, like Michael Stidman, like all the guests, like even like Winston Keat and Brooke Keat, and I could go on and on. But your beautiful wife Sarah, I wouldn't know Lily, who's the executive producer of the podcast.
Good job, Lil.
So yeah, good job, Lil. But anyway, brother, thank you very much.
Absolutely, thanks for blessing my life.
Yeah,
as well.
Man. So yeah, how's 2026 shaping up for you?
It's going good. I mean, it's a new year, right?
Yeah.
I think my word is abundant this year.
Abundant year.
Yes,
Yeah, I love that.
in all the areas, relationships, work, health, all of it.
So tell us a little bit about you. Like your work actually interests me. You're an environmental engineer.
Yep.
And I know that's what you do, but I'll tell you what, I'm ignorant to all of that.
Yeah.
And what would you say, obviously it's something that interests you. And if you go back into the Wayback Machine of your life, what sort of steered you that direction, would you say?
Yeah. It actually, it's quite a good story. So it just all the way back, the Wayback Machine, all the way back to high school, graduating high school and deciding if I wanted to go to college or, could go to college at that time, so ended up coming down to Utah Valley Community College, playing baseball for a year down there. And it was like, well, what do you want to study? And so at that time, environmental engineering, that was like 1990. So environmental engineering was kind of a big hot topic back then. And so it was kind of, I'm good at, I've told Lil this story too, but it's like, I was like, I'm kind of good at math, so maybe engineering, that literally is how I decided to go into engineering. And then I picked environmental engineering because of, at the time that was kind of just a big industry. Those guys were, it's kind of like the computer science folks now, those are ones kind of making the money now and seem to have the biggest growth with AI and
actually
all of that stuff.
I have a memory of that, like environmental engineering back then when I was in college too, because I'm a little bit older than you, but that was a big thing. And, how is that, would you say this career has emphasized your skills, like your the things you love?
I've been doing it a long time. So I've worked for 29 years for the same company, 29 and a half now. So I think the biggest thing for me is it's the people. It's not all the I mean, the projects are fun and interesting, and I learn a lot, but it's the people that I work with, the different people. I'm blessed to be able to work across the United States. I work in Alaska, I work in New Jersey, I work in California, I work in Utah. I have project teams all over, doing projects, remediation type projects. That's the type of environmental engineer I am. We clean up soil, groundwater, air.
You're really essentially assisting the
Healing of the
human
earth.
devastation to the earth.
That was my big epiphany back in kind of the early, I don't know, 2000s. It's like, what am I doing, and why am I doing it? And it just came to me one day. It was just like, oh, you're actually healing the earth, which is so important to, it's just a mirror of myself and humanity, really.
100%. I totally get that. And it's interesting too. Like, look what the technology that has come. You shared some of that with me with what you do that has come to assist, because there was that question that got to be answered. How do we clean up the earth?
Yeah.
You deal with a lot.
Yeah. And I've been blessed to see it progress, just like over time, because back in the, even the 50s and 60s, the Industrial Revolution, and the world wars and things like that. Those, we do a lot of federal work and cleanups at Air Force bases and Army bases, and places that the government, the DoD has bombed and things like that, just to train and test things, so those, and there was no regulation back then. It wasn't until 1980, actually, the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act and Superfund came around, and the CERCLA, that's what came around to kind of drive the cleanup of all those sites where, basically it's kind of cradle to grave waste management, so people would just build stuff and they'd just go dig a hole in their back of their property and they'd go bury it, before the 80s. After the 80s, they had to track that. If you went and purchased a bunch of chemicals, you had to, there was a ledger, somebody was tracking it, and you owned it, and then you had to basically tell them how you use it, have documentation of how you use it, and then what happens to it in the end, like where does it go, like if you mix it.
I feel like a lot of people don't know what your profession does, or the people like you do. And it all started, sounds like, because you were good at math. But it's like, wait a second here.
I don't remember.
It's beyond that.
Yeah. It's so beyond that. Like it's so, like I was saying, just like the progression of it, just even, the technologies back then, when you had contaminated groundwater, you would just go pump it out of the ground and, treat it with carbon or something, and then discharge it, to a nearby river or lake or something. And that costs a lot of money. Pumping water is expensive. And nowadays there's a lot more, in situ, which means like kind of in the area where the contamination is, you pump things into that, and then that treats it, that chemically changes it and makes it less toxic. So that, that heals the earth.
Melanie, Melanie. So her mother was a product of. She lived in southern Utah in the 1950s.
Yeah, down
and
under.
they tested all the nuclear weapons down northern Nevada, wherever, and that she got lymphoma due to the fallout later in her life with lymphoma. And it ended up taking her life. But that's why. What the things you guys do is so important, because it does. You mentioned people. I mean, you are a people guy. Like, you guys got to meet Randy Gates. But, this is about the collective, us. Like, how do we? And there's a bridge between what you do and human health.
Yes.
The human experience. And what trickles into every aspect of our lives, relationships, our own personal health, how we see the world, how our earth heals, and we take accountability for the destruction that was created.
Yes.
So actually, like a macroscopic view of that is essential
Yeah.
to to our existence, you know.
Yes.
And you mentioned something a few minutes ago about you do this, but it's actually come to, you've told me some of the super interesting people you've met along the way, and with this, but the people,
Yeah.
did you, when you first started, maybe you always knew you were a people person, people guy?
I didn't.
Oh, that's what my question is. Like, well,
Yeah.
when did it's like, wait a second here.
Yeah.
When did that start to sort of, the gratitude for the people that you work with, the people in your life, sort of start percolating up for you?
Well, probably goes back to my training, my impact training. When I did that, and I basically figured out who I was. And then once I knew who I was and I had peace with myself, I could actually recognize, I could see in others, what I saw in myself. So that was the trigger, that literally launched my, took a whole new trajectory in my career. Just being, I swore against being a people manager, and instantly I was put in a manager role after that, once I figured that out. Mm-hmm. So it was that was the time in my life when it was like, oh yeah, there's so much beauty around me, so much intelligence and wisdom and gratitude and courage, just all over, to people stepping in to be a change,
Yeah.
and do things that other people don't do, and some of them are very interesting characters, like you said. I've told you some stories about some of those PhD folks that you work with are they're challenging in unique ways, but man, they have such beautiful brains.
Yeah. They have their own gift set.
Yes.
They come with their own uniqueness.
Yes.
And honestly, I'm just throwing this out because I can see this about you. It's interesting that you're in that environment where you can bridge that gap between their intellect and their PhD-ness to the humanness of the experience.
Yeah.
You talk about an environmental engineer. That's environmental engineering right there.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
how do we bridge this communication gap between this PhD biochemist
Yeah.
and real world application of you're perfect for that, man.
What a great question. You and I have talked about that, like in the physician profession, and kind of how you were bouncing back and forth in that, because it's like, am I a doctor? Am I not a doctor? Like, it's like, am I an engineer, or am I a people person, kind of a bridge for this wisdom to be applied, in a positive way, with my clients, like it's all of it, really, so that's what I've come to, 30 years
man.
in 30 years into it. It's like you finally can have peace with all of it,
And what is some of the things as that process has unfolded for you have just sort of percolated? Like, how would you describe it? It's like, well, now I experience this as opposed to this. Like, what do you see? Like,
yeah, I think
because of your experience.
It's well, there's just gratitude is where it starts, and then operating in the old way was exhausting,
Yeah.
Exhausting. Yeah. It just felt like I was just in my head and overthinking and, trying to be perfect. And, that's not what it's about at all. It is so much easier than that. It's, that's the word, easy. If it's not easy, it's not working, so.
And does easy imply, because there's a I love that you brought that word up, because the ego would say easy is what?
A shortcut.
A sellout.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just going to take it easy.
Yeah.
But I mean, from what you're describing,
Oh,
what's
you
your
still
experience?
got to get the work done. You still got to do the
Hell
job.
yeah.
Yeah, it still has to be a integrous process, you know.
And as you come from the wisdom of who you are, how did it become easy?
I listened.
Yeah.
And it's from a different space, you know. It's from here instead of here. That's it, really.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be beautiful if humanity would just shift? What is that, baby? 10 inches?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's just do it different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unload.
Yeah.
Environmentally cleanse
Yes.
your space.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. It's a process, man. Purpose of life is to learn.
Amen.
And we go through it in our own way, and I really feel like it's divinely orchestrated, and you get what you can handle, and no more.
So, you are, in my experience, an amazing father, and you have great, amazing kids. You've got bonus kids now, and your life is it's beautiful.
Yes.
What would you, you've shared with me a little bit about your growing up years, and just recently you've shared some beautiful stories about your dad.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why your dad fascinates me. I've actually told you this. I'm like, wait a second here.
Yeah.
And describe your dad, if you would, because what's come from your dad
Yeah.
produced my best friend.
That's right.
Okay, but so your dad fascinates me because he's kind of a rough and tumbly,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you don't mind. I would love
Yeah. No, absolutely. Hard working. I mean, I have a great relationship with my dad. He wasn't really in my life a lot, you know. My parents were divorced when I was 4. My mom remarried, and I feel like her second husband was more of a dad, even though he was only in my life for about 3-4 years. He was more dad than my dad because I was so young.
Right.
So I've gotten to know my dad later in life, and as I've been open to that relationship, and he passed away in 2008. But just him and his family, his brothers, he's got 6 siblings, 3 sisters and 3 brothers, and man, they are colorful. They're fun. They range from the oldest being he's the only brother still alive, and he's in his 80s. He's a Mormon, still, just kicking and doing great. But they come from kind of a mining background, kind of a hardworking, so I think it was natural for my dad and his brothers to kind of get into the contracting industry. They both worked, or all 3 of them worked for big contractors and operated heavy equipment, and they weren't afraid to have a good time in their life. They were hard drinkers and smokers, and they probably paid the price for that later in their short life, but that's the life they led, and they weren't ashamed of any of it. It was they were he's kind of a cowboy, like a Delta. His dad was from Delta, my grandpa, and owned some property, and it was I'm sure a fun and rough upbringing for them, and the sibling fights and things like that, so but yeah, I think more recently I've come into this more knowing of my dad was like me. I mean, that apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that's just so true. I've shared that song Father Son by Stephen Wilson Jr. That was a big shift for me. It's I'm named after him. My middle name is Reuben. That was his name Reuben J. Moody, and he's a tender but very passionate soul. That's what I know of him.
How would you say, your relationship with him has changed or expanded or whatever the word might be since his passing, whatever that even means?
Yeah.
And it's interesting we use these words like that, passing, that actually mean nothing.
Right.
Because to me, it's actually not a thing.
Yeah.
But in descriptive terms, would you say your relationship has shifted?
I feel like it's definitely stronger, and I feel like we know each other more now than we ever did. And that just took me doing some work, letting go of forgiving, letting go of stuff. There was definitely times when I was like, why aren't you in my life, and all those things that I went through. And, I'm that type of guy that just, I don't think about it long, but, there's definitely those moments where I was just like, man, it should be nice to, call up my dad and,
yeah.
Talk to him about something.
Do you ever still have that inkling? Like,
yeah,
my dad passed in 2019, and whatever that even means, passing again. But like, I still every once, twice a week, I'm like, I gotta call dad.
Yeah.
Right?
Have a conversation.
But what's different, and I love that you said that about your dad, because it's complete. My relationship with my dad is completely different. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
I every time I get in my truck, he's in there. And he's not too crazy about the Tesla right now because he was a truck guy, but it's fascinating to me that I experiencing him in these amazing ways. There, one of my children was experiencing something, and I've been concerned about him, and and it's always this: hey, son, all is well.
Yeah.
And it's this calming, reassuring, just how he used to speak. Hey, it unfolds how it unfolds.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all will be taken care of.
Yeah.
Love your life. Those are the messages I get from him a lot. And so when you say that, I'm like, yeah, it's like this whole nother level of trust.
Yeah.
And listening. You mentioned listening. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a different space of listening, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's listening from your heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's you keep saying, they neither of them have passed. People don't just leave. They're still there, and they show their whatever the signs, or like you say, your dad's in your truck. My dad he's like, there's hawks and eagles. We live in a neighborhood called Eagle Ridge, and Sarah and I saw our first bald eagle there 2 days ago. It was beautiful. She filmed it. It was a huge eagle. But that's hawks and eagles represent my dad, and they're all over the place. So, I mean, it's every couple days I can look outside and be like, oh, there you are.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, how's it going?
And when you acknowledge Dad, like, when you acknowledge him, what's been your experience with that?
It's just like this peaceful, I don't know, surrendering, just it's, I don't know, serene,
Yeah.
It feels good.
I love it.
It didn't feel good when he was here, because I was holding on to stuff, and it was actually when he passed, when I had like a really cool experience, I was the one that actually wasn't even in my life, and I actually was the one that was like made the decision to kind of pull the plug on him. He had a heart attack and was on life support, and his current wife and my sister and I, we were all just kind of talking about it, and they were just like, I can't do that. And I just had this experience with him. Where just closed my eyes on a run one day. said, where are you? And it was the most peaceful feeling I've ever had with him. And when you're running and you close your eyes, you're like, okay, I'm gonna open my eyes now, and you think that it's gonna be like a couple feet. I was down the road. So it was this time that I spent with him that I'd never spent with him. So that's the peace I gained, and how I made the decision. It's like he's not in that body anymore. He's out there.
He's the eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because of those experiences, and you've shared a few of those with me, in your life, and how would you say, because you're like your children and your bonus children and your grandbaby and all of those things that I see you do, how has your relationship with your dad given you perspective on how you wanted to show up as a husband, as a man, as a father, as a the experiences and the courage that it took to change a relationship, end a relationship, move on to a new relationship. I've witnessed you do all of those things.
Yeah.
And I would, what would you say about all of that in relationship to that you've learned from your pops?
Yeah. So I never thought the guy taught me a thing, because he was never there, and until, he was gone, and then I was like, oh. You taught me everything, because the dad that I wanted to be was always the dad that I didn't have, So I think I've been a great father to my kids and my bonus kids now. Like I feel like I'm a provider. I show up. That was what he didn't do. So you learn so much. And I don't hold any resentment towards him anymore, because it was just like what he could do, like he's got his family, or he had his things going on in his life. And so I really felt like that was what he could take on, and, even though I was his kid, he was choosing some different things, and so I've always wanted to not have my kids go through that. In fact, when you talk about like, divorce and changing relationships and stuff, that was one of the hardest decisions for me. Is like, okay, like if I get divorced and, my kids could have some other father figure in their life, that's like a challenging thought for a man, like a dad. So I contemplated that a lot, and my kids got to be a little bit older, and, I saw how resilient they are, and kids are just resilient. They work their stuff out just like I did, and that allowed me the peace to be able to kind of finally move on, and of course, find my beautiful Sarah,
Yeah.
That was as soon as I let go of all that stuff and kind of opened myself up to new things, like, hey, this isn't working and kids are going to be okay. Boom, there she was.
Yeah. The surrendering of the
with the bonus. The bonus kids. And I always wanted more kids. I said that this week. So I actually was talking to Sarah about that this week, like I always wanted more kids, and I was feeling a little like empty that we weren't going to have more kids, and then there they came.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it.
Yes. And they're amazing. So amazing.
Yes. So as you've kind of shared with us a few of some things, and I kind of wanted to dive into some of the experiences you and I've had together. Yeah. And I just, we talk, there's this phrase that I learned, and this phrase where it's, there's all types of healing. There's
Yes.
physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing, relationship healing. We're healing the earth. All of these things. We talk about healing, and there's different types of instances where this really becomes prevalent. And some of the toughest healing that happens, based on my experience in my life, is that emotional relationship history healing. Right?
Yes.
That the feelings of betrayal and the feelings of I'm not enough, or why did somebody choose something different than me, or all of those things.
Oh, yeah.
That you and I have talked about a lot. And what we do here in with the clinics is a type of healing and assisting what you do. But you and I have there's a phrase that it's called we call it the dark night of the soul.
Yes.
And we've had a number of them, and they happen all the time. I recently my wife was experiencing some very concerning health things, and we were diving deep into all the imaging and all the stuff, right, to make sure she was okay.
Yeah.
And it was scaring the crap out of me, right? And I went straight back to, and who did I call? Because I couldn't breathe.
Yep.
I was so afraid, And so, dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
I invite you all to find someone in your life that you can call when you're having the dark night of the soul. And Randy Gates is the guy I call.
Todd's the guy I call.
But I had this, after I spoke to you, I went out, I had this area up front, and I just lit a fire in there.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and of course, Randy, just to tell y'all, I was smoking a cigar. Yes. And I know Todd smokes
that's
cigars.
good for
I'm
the
like,
soul.
I smoke an occasional cigar, and I smoke them with Randy Gates.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there,
Not often, but
and
sometimes it's good.
I asked the fire after I spoke to you. I said, I know this sounds crazy, folks, but this is what I do. I said, teach me. And the question that came back said, Todd, why are you afraid of pain? And it unfolded all of this stuff to me about pain, about physical pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, pain for someone that you adore that may be sick, or like all this pain. So why are you afraid of pain? Why are you trying to avoid pain in life?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is a great question.
Yeah.
Because the darkest nights of my experience, where I felt the most pain, was where I learned the most.
Yeah.
It's this giant paradox. I call it jumbo shrimp. It makes zero sense. But it's a paradox. Like, the pain is where the gratitude actually blossoms the greatest.
Yeah.
And so, you have, you years and years ago, back in 2009, you showed up. I remember the first moment I met my brother, Randy Gates. And we're sitting there across the table, and I just had gotten out of this training thing, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, life looks different, but there's still a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
And you and I, you got to be my coach.
Yes.
Right? And I experienced something during that coaching time that we were together that was a dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
And you were perfect for me. And in those moments, what wisdom would you share with people when they bump into somebody in their life that is in a tough spot?
Yeah.
They're lost, they're confused, they're in darkness. Share with us what you do when you have, because you have these opportunities a lot in your life now where people will just show up and you get to do it in a way that assists them, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the wisdom things that you've used and tools you have that allow you to be that open?
Yeah, I think we talked about the biggest one earlier is just listening. Sometimes just allowing somebody to say the words, to get it out, is so healing, so freeing, it actually creates the healing. It starts right then, because it's honest, it's raw, and I do what you are doing. You ask questions. You facilitate a conversation, and it's there's really no response. Like I vaguely remember our interactions, but I feel like most of my responses were like, oh, that's interesting. Like how does that make you feel to say that? Say that out loud. Like simple stuff like that. Just that is just like that baby step that it takes to kind of work through some of those things. But I mean, listening is the key. It's, open your ears and close your mouth,
open your heart, open your ears.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of stuff. It's also just like you said, like with the fire. Sometimes like there's things that I don't know what to say. Like when you're in that position, and so you have to ask. And figure out. And sometimes the answer is don't say anything, or just listen. But sometimes there's a message there that might be a little different, that really sparks a thought or a feeling, or something that gets things moving, because most of the time those dark nights of the soul are just kind of being stuck in the pain or the fear.
You mentioned the question, and I love the question. There's something about the question that puts you and I on the same level, in the same space. There's no engineer.
Yeah.
There's no doctor.
Yeah.
It's hey, what does it feel like to be afraid?
Yeah.
Where do you feel that in your body? Hey, Todd, what's it feel like to not be able to breathe?
Yeah.
I've had this experience recently. So breath has kind of been in around me lately. So when I was an infant, I was born I was born, how old? I was 4 pounds 6 ounces. I was I was
guy.
preemie, right?
Yeah.
And back then, 1968, they stuck me in an incubator, oxygen for 30 days till my lungs weren't developed. And so I was in this training a couple weeks ago down in Las Vegas. With a sports injury deal, and we were talking about, there's breath work things out there now, and we were talking about pain, specifically sacral pain, lumbar spine pain, and diaphragmatic breathing, but in a way that increases it's called intra-abdominal pressure. And I'm going to get to my point. But because we talked about breathing then a couple weeks ago when I spoke to you.
Yeah.
I was doing this process with all these other doctors in this room. This breathing, diaphragmatic, intra-abdominal pressure, using your lateral lumbar spine to actually expand your diaphragm. And I'd never thought about this. I'd never had this experience before, ever. I saw myself as an infant in the incubator struggling to breathe. Mm-hmm. And I shared that with Melanie. She's like, oh, you just had your very first memory. Because I don't remember my childhood. I had some childhood stuff that I've kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Probably purposefully, right? But I had this... I saw myself, little dude, 4 pound 6 ounce Todd, just trying to get my chest to, my first experience on earth was not being able to breathe.
Right.
I remembered that. I brought tears to my eyes, had this emotional response, which was deep seated in me, right?
Yeah.
I'm no spring chicken.
Yeah.
And so when this came up a couple weeks ago with you, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, you weren't breathing.
I wasn't breathing.
Yeah.
So it's feedback. Like, how many times, Todd, have you done that in your life?
Yeah.
And it produces this sympathetic response, and there's all this nervous system biochemical. I get geeked out about stuff like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I love the correlation here, but what we're talking about, because dark night of the soul, I'm fearful for my Melanie.
Yeah.
I call you, I'm outside, and we talk about breathing.
Yeah.
You're the one that said it. And then
Yeah,
the fire,
I could hear it.
Yeah. And then later that evening, the fire said, asked me the question,
Why are you afraid of pain?
why are you afraid of pain?
Yeah.
So, the question, back to that question,
Yeah.
Asking a question of someone that's in fear, to me, is the doorway in which you and I unite. It's a bridge.
Yes.
It's a bridge between your heart and my heart, with the intention that I am here to assist.
Yeah. That builds trust.
Builds trust.
Yeah.
There's
Like
so
that instantly.
And how, as you have experienced that and know that whole thing that I just sort of described, how has that assisted you in your life with your children, with creating abundant relationships in your workspace, in your relationship with Sarah, because you know those things now, you've experienced them. How would you say that has assisted you?
Yeah, I would say that it makes it easy, right? Like because you know that, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's if you only have to breathe to make it easy, and trust, and that breathing kind of brings that, the endorphins, the whatever in your body, it opens your space, so you can actually you're not constricted, you're not like tensed up, it frees your space so you can actually be an open vessel in any situation, any conversation, like where I can actually see and feel and be empathetic for what's going on. That doesn't mean that happens all the time. I mean, I'm an engineer, I'm a thinker, and Sarah and I joke all the time, like we'll have a passionate conversation and she'll be like, "You're just not hearing me," and I'm like, I respond over and over again that I hear you. It's just I just need a minute. I need a minute.
I had a conversation with some people yesterday, and I just walked out of a yoga class. It's where I went and did my thing, get connected, and then immediately I get a call about drama, about company drama or things happening, and I'm like, I literally said out loud, I said, "Can you give me a minute to recalibrate to a place where I can handle this when I just experienced this?"
Yeah.
And it actually turned out to be a beautiful conversation. But if I would have gone into it headstrong, F this, F that, it would have created more.
Yeah.
Because hard things still, you mentioned the word easy. Does that imply that this is easy street?
No. In fact, it's usually where the most growth is, like because the work goes in. It takes courage to be honest sometimes.
Yeah.
And say what you're actually feeling, and it if you feel betrayed by somebody and you gotta tell them, that's sometimes hard, because you're like, how are they gonna take this, and I definitely try to stay out of the victimhood of that, and so it's really not a long time, but like if you feel like somebody's betrayed you, it's like, hey, acknowledge it, let's just be accountable, and we can move right through this.
It's fascinating how people will have that feeling of betrayal, like, oh, so-and-so said this, or so-and-so said did that, or this happened, or she chose that, and whatever.
Yeah. And
to jump into that betrayal mode, but yet then avoid the hard conversation.
Yes.
It's like, wait a second here, man. This is a Goliath that I'm feeling betrayed, or pain, or fear.
Yeah.
And I could shirk, I could run, I could avoid.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
Oh yeah.
Or I could go down to the stream and pick up some stones and use a skill set that I have and put it in my sling and hit Goliath right between the eyes. Right?
Right.
I mean, because I've avoided. I don't want to. Those are. But what you're describing to me, what I hear you saying is, as you've done this, these conversations have healed,
Yeah.
created healing,
Yeah.
and
Growth.
conversations that are real, builds relationships of trust,
Yeah.
expansion of abundance. You mentioned abundance is 2026, right?
That's right. That's right.
To me, I love these parallels and it's like this beautiful tapestry or painting or music where it's just like, oh, as I'm open to what it is, then I'm like, oh, if I hadn't met Randy Gates, I wouldn't have experienced this, or I wouldn't have had this, or I wouldn't have known this person. Or I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's gratitude.
That's divine order.
I love it.
Yeah.
love it.
It's, I'm not in control of that, and I don't want to be in control. So that's what you just said just kind of sparked something. It's just like listening and letting go of control. Like, give me a minute. I don't have to control this situation. I don't have to control this conversation. I just want to make sure I hear what's happening and what you're feeling, and then you hear what I'm feeling, and then we go from there.
Feedback.
Yeah.
Where would I like to receive the feedback?
Yes, I know.
If I hit it right here in my ego, it's not feedback.
Right.
But if I say, oh, I actually get what you're saying,
Yeah.
I can see how you would have seen that about me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's like, and then there's something that can be, it's like clay. It's like Scott Rogers. Dude, I love Scott Rogers. Scott's been on the show. Hey, I know Scott Rogers because of Randy Gates, right?
Yes.
So
Scott Rogers.
like, he was on the podcast, and he'll take clay. Like when you just said that, I saw clay. Because if I take feedback and process it through my processor, it's not clay. It's more like concrete. It's a mess.
Yeah.
But I take that feedback and make clay, use it as clay. It's Scott Rogers. If you want to see some beautiful artwork, folks, go to Scott Rogers, up and low, phenomenal, like sculpting but he takes clay and he creates. To me, every piece he does is a story. If you feel it, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And so when you're saying that, I'm seeing this clay, and it reminds me of Scott, and it reminds me of like, oh, this feedback. I can create something because you loved me enough to ask me a question. Hey, Todd, what's it feel like not to breathe? Hey, Todd, why are you so afraid of pain?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can do something with that. Or I could say the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. When you said that, I saw clay. I'm like, oh, Todd.
Yeah, it's an energy, right? Like when you say Scott Rogers, like I think of energy,
Yeah.
I mean, that's you, Scotty.
We love you, man.
Yes.
Dude.
Full of
You
energy.
gotta go to lunch. Yeah.
Full of energy.
Yeah.
And all of his pieces. Yeah. The guy's world famous, in sculpting. Like, you see his pieces. We saw some of his stuff up in Jackson Hole this summer, so he's just got stuff everywhere and amazing. So, but the way he sculpts is it's literally a chunk of clay, and then he feels an energy and he just like puts that into the clay, and it's becomes this masterpiece, this beautiful thing.
It's fascinating to me because you do the same thing.
Yeah.
What you've described today is you do the same thing. The same thing happens in healthcare with practitioners that are open to assisting. A patient walks in. It's a big question. How may I assist this person? But I have done it from my ego, where I got it all figured out and I'm the doctor and I know how to do this, which is exhausting and zero fun.
It's bullshit.
Bullshit. And I've done it in a way that says, hey, what's it feel like in your body to experience that pain? I've asked that of other people.
Yeah.
But the fire asked that of me.
Right.
It's like, whoa, look at this paradox. Like, what does it feel like for you to experience that pain? And when you do this movement, is that relieving Or exacerbating. Well, it's relieving. Okay. How about this angle? How about this change? How about this? Oh, okay. So now that we've done this, how are you feeling? Well, I feel some more movement. I feel more relaxed. I can do this. Oh, I feel great when I stand. Whatever it might be. Because I don't have the answer and I don't want it. I don't want to have the answer.
Yeah.
I want to be Scott Rogers. That's the greatest. Hey, take this scenario and create something in combination with trust.
Yes.
It's the greatest.
Absolutely.
And super easy.
Yes. It is easy when we trust
Yeah.
that piece.
Yeah.
We've been designed to make that hard, but
Isn't it funny?
with an ego and
ironic. It's like,
this brain that gets in the way a lot.
yeah.
And likes to say, I know how to do that.
Oh, we're so smart.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Like, what? You don't know a damn thing, Todd.
Yeah. It's interesting. Oh, we're doing a lot of AI stuff at work right now, right? Like it's a big thing in everywhere, right? So it's and that's kind of what AI is basically. It's just it models our brain, so I just find that fascinating that, AI can learn just like you and I can learn, so it's a, we'll see where that goes.
We go.
Yeah.
It's a giant mirror.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And the question that comes is, what would I like to mirror?
Yes.
Well, do we want to mirror more of this brainiac ego thing that I'm right and everybody else is wrong, or this right-wrong game? Or do we want to mirror expansive possibilities?
Yeah.
And to me, which one's way more fun? It's expansive possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have chat, right? So I have played this little game with it where I get a little brainiac and I see a result. But then I also do I'm open to possibilities prompt.
Yeah.
It is way more interactive. It's like this mirror. It's fascinating to me.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you. It's like
It is.
It's an interesting experience.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's I mean, way more things that are in here are in AI, so it's like there's trillions and trillions of data points. Yeah, and that's where this comes into play and can.
Wouldn't it be amazing to take what the environmental engineer that you are, and utilize the divine essence of who you are, and create that in a world of brainiacs?
Yeah.
Which you do. You do that anyway, just by being you. But like, let's put information into the space that it creates an outcome that is expansive and abundant and forgiving and trusting and communicative and relationship building and healing in all aspects.
Yeah.
We're right on that precipice. We have this potentiality right in front of us to create something that is so transformative. Or are we going to do it in a way the same old, the right-wrong game? Or are we going to do it in a way that we create a whole new experience?
Yeah, I feel like the transformative way is the way, and that's coming. It's just a matter of time. There's no way around it. It's just kind of what's next.
Yes.
Like we know the right-wrong is not working, and have known that for a long time. So it's gotta be it's coming.
Yeah. Well, folks, you can see what Randy and Gates and I talk about a lot, we've done this for years and years. Man, gratitude sometimes doesn't even feel like the word that fits. With you, brotherhood feels real.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Love you.
And we will continue to do some walks together.
Yes.
Friends, if there's someone in your life that you can build a relationship with, that you trust, where you have those dark nights of the soul, find yourself Randy Gates. And
Or a Todd Barber.
Yeah, you just do life together. So thank you for
Yes.
sharing yours with me.
Yeah. Thanks for walking with me. And
Yeah.
Obviously, love you. That's the word
Love
that comes to
you
me.
too.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like you're my family. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like we're the same. We came from the same place.
Yes.
You know, eons ago. So
Yes.
it's a pleasure to walk this life with you.
Thank you, brother, for
Yeah.
coming on this podcast. This little thing we do.
Yeah. It's fun.
We love it. We love the conversations.
Yeah.
We have no idea where it's going,
Yeah.
but we love.
Sometimes get you a little emotional. You
Amen.
touch on some
greatest.
things. Yeah.
Energy and motion.
Energy and motion. Yes.
I love you, man. Thank
Love
you.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Two thumbs
Love you
up.
guys. Talk to you next time. We appreciate you. See you soon. Thank you.